going to see new adversaries, new attacks, new deepfakes. Deepfakes are going to go to the next level.
Oh, yeah.
So all of a sudden, authentication methods, MFA, forget MFA, traditional MFA, that's out the window because that will get breached pretty quickly. Welcome, Yak. Thank you for coming to the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
No, we speak every day, so this shouldn't feel any different. But before we get into it, do you want to give a quick introduction of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I think I've practiced this enough now. My name's Yak. I'm the head of engineering, so I've got the lovely responsibility of leading a team of brilliant engineers at CloudGuard and making sure we're at the forefront of technology when it comes to cybersecurity in the space.
Excellent. So one thing that we always laugh about is obviously what we're seeing, a lot in the social media, a lot in LinkedIn. We see a lot of noise, right? We see a lot of marketing noise. But before we get into that world, because obviously we did a video before which was quite popular, and there were some questions I think we should cover. How far do you think AI has come in a consumer sort of level? Like, how much do you, in your own personal experience, like how much do we actually use AI? I know it's a loaded question because I know we do use it, but give me some examples of how you use it at home.
Well, it depends on the individual. If you're asking from a consumer perspective, we're seeing, since ChatGPT came out, there was a big hype around it and everyone was talking about ChatGPT, this, that, almost taking its word for gospel. Hilarious. If you step back from that, just look at the applications that you use on a general basis. You go to a company for support, you open up the chatbot, AI is there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think generally there's a lot of AI we're consuming that we don't realize is AI as well. Mm-hmm. If you ask me, as someone who's techie and loves tinkering and things like that, the one I'm working on most recently is a timetable for prayers. Right. So where I live, there's a lot of mosques around and there's a lot of prayer times. And my dad's always asking me, where's the next one? Where's the latest one? Or who's got the earliest one? Because we want to get that prayers out of the way and do things or whatever. So I managed to build a bot that you can talk to, and you can basically feed it these timetables in JPEG or PDF format, and it goes and most of the time, turns it into something readable and stores it so you can ask it questions like, oh, when's the next prayer time? Oh, it's at this time. When's the earliest one for this particular prayer on this day? And it will come back and tell you, oh yeah, it's at this mosque, and then the next one is at that mosque. So really interesting. Does my dad use it? No.
So you built that for your dad, or do you use that?
I built it for my dad,
right.
But now it's just turned into I ask the questions by proxy.
So you could then connect it to Alexa. I don't want to say I don't think there's any Alexa devices, but you could connect it to an Alexa and you could get your dad to talk to that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. After I built the whole thing, I realized that if I asked Gemini the same question, it answers it anyway.
Yeah.
This is like, I may have solutionized something that already exists, but again, there's an AI capability I never knew existed. You can ask Gemini about things in your local area, about timings and things like that, and it will figure it out, and it gets it right 99% of the time.
I think that's a really good example, because what that shows is how consumerified AI actually is, right? It's everywhere. We know that, right? So to the point where it's now in our homes. I'll give an example of my mum. So my mum is not technical at all. Just the introduction of the iPhone was a game changer for her. She's been on the iPhones now ever since, and she loves it. So now I go to the house recently, and I'm in the kitchen with her, and I speak to her about a particular, I think it was a chicken biryani ingredient. So how do you make it? Because it tasted nice, whatever she did.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, I spoke to Baijan, which in Urdu means brother, right?" And I was like, "Who's Baijan?" And she opened up her phone, and it's only ChatGPT, and she's doing the audio voice with ChatGPT. She says, "Baijan, could you quickly go through what the recipe was?" And all of a sudden they're speaking Urdu to each other, which I thought was hilarious. So there's me, and she's talking to this phone like it's another person. And when I realized that, and when I saw that, that was when I realized actually this is as consumer as it gets. It's hit for me anyway. That's the context in which, okay, this is out there. AI is not going to go anywhere. This is it. So your example, my example, there's so much more out there. I think what we are seeing is everybody uses AI, everyone's touching it. I think the reliance on it is quite high now. So it's now in day-to-day life. It's the internet. Remember when the internet was released and everyone had access to a consumer sort of internet, whether it was back in the days of your V90 modems and ADSLs, and now obviously with fiber, we've heavily relied on the internet. It's almost our phone is connected. We're always on, always switched on.
Yeah.
We are now entering this generation of always on AI. Everything is just going to we need an answer now. We need it today. We need it not yesterday. We need it quick. I need to buy something. It needs to be immediate. Now, today, binge. AI is driving that. Let's now move over to sort of the business world. So now we've got this consumer-fied AI. I'm just an average worker, for example. I'll go into the office. I'm almost expecting that level of consumer AI that I'd had at home. I kind of want it in my office now, right? So obviously we're seeing lots of products being released. I look at the Microsoft Copilot and a lot of the solutions out there. How do you think AI is starting to take trend in businesses, and what sort of use cases are you seeing in sort of the business world?
If you're inside of a lot of cloud platforms, they're kind of bringing AI in already.
Absolutely.
So I think there was a diagramming software that we used to use, and they brought AI into that, and I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. What does that do? Nothing. It's just a summarizer. Then I tried it inside another diagramming tool. That was very interesting. It would write code based on boxes that I draw and things like that, and almost kind of streamline your production. And then if you look inside of Azure AI now, sorry, not Azure AI, the Azure platform, just in general, as you're navigating around your resources and subscriptions, there's little AI suggestions at the top.
Yeah.
How much is this costing? What kind of resources are on here? And things like that. So depending on the platform you use, you'll see different flavors of AI.
Yeah.
Some will be less mature. Some will be more mature. Some will actually be useful. Some of them you're just like, this is actually a nuisance. Let me just put it aside. It's a mixed bag, but we are seeing more mature implementation of AI inside these products now. So I think we're coming to a stage where at the beginning it was what we spoke about last time. It's a slapdash AI, done, right? It's a summarization. What we're seeing now is companies are actually adapting these AI tools to be useful within their product. So it's not just like a gimmick so I can slap an AI badge on my product. It is now we're actually using AI to help your workflows, to improve them, to make things simpler for you.
I think you touched on a really good point around the tooling having native AI built in. I think what we are seeing across all tools, so forget cyber for a minute. I know we're talking cyber, but just non-cyber for a second. Cloud products, diagram tools, office tools just generally that you use on the day-to-day have now got a level of AI implementation. And we know that, well, the consumer knows that because it's got this little paperclip type thing, or they've got a little agent or a little chatbot that can talk to it, or it gives it a prompt, and all of a sudden the consumer feels, oh, I'm quite naturally used to this because there's a prompt box and I can put something in and it should just go do something for me. So it's almost an assumption nowadays where if I log on to a tool, I'm not going to browse the tool anymore. I'm expecting the prompt thing to be popping up, or I'm expecting a little AI magical little UI or interface to come up and prompt me some suggestions. If it doesn't, this is not a good tool. It's got no AI in it. So I think what's happened is that if consumerification is a word, I'm not too sure, but that consumerified element of I'm used to having AI at home is almost brought into the office and workspace, and that obviously I'm expecting AI. Almost to the point where we use AI in a day-to-day, like GPTs on our phone and chat, Geminis and all that good stuff. We check it. It's now the new Google. I don't know. I use Perplexity now as my Google. I don't use Google anymore. And Perplexity, because I love the idea, it brings citations, it brings sources, it brings it to the front hand of my search, right? So all of a sudden it brings me a lot more than just search. It brings me the source. I want to know where the search has come from. Is this real contextual stuff that I can use? And it really brings a lot more to it. I'm almost expecting that from everything now. So when I come into work, I'm expecting, what if I were to bring, say, GPT into the office and say, hey, actually, what if I asked it here before, prayer times, what if I actually tell it to write me a document? Or what if so all of a sudden I'm now going to force ChatGPT and other sort of chat tools that I would normally use for my personal sort of gains, I'm now going to use it in the workplace, right? And I think that's the part of our issue we're now seeing, is that end user bringing AI to work. The expectation of tools having built-in AI, if it's not there, it's kind of, this is a really crap tool because it hasn't got the AI. Marketing teams and other products and SaaS are now playing on that. So what they're doing, I spoke about this before, I think we call it slapdash AI, or in summary, GPT wrappers. So if I've got a platform, all I need to do is put a bit of Gen AI in front of it with a nice little chatbot, and all of a sudden it's an AI tool. I think people are, a lot of technology, even vendors and a lot of smaller sort of SaaS players are now playing on that. So all of a sudden, when I then look at the entire market, it's a very confusing market for a buyer, because they, A, are expecting AI, and B, because they see it on the front end, they just assume it's got AI infused everywhere.
Yeah.
So this tool is heavily powered by AI. It is what it is. Oh my God, I must buy it because if it's giving me the chat interface, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of our frustrations that we spoke about last time, wasn't it? That the marketing hype plus the expectation of the consumer expecting all tools to now have AI, I think has made a very complicated marketplace when it comes to the AI narrative. I don't know if you agree with that in sort of the enterprise and business.
Absolutely. AI tools, they're maturing at a slow rate. I'll give an example, right? Again, back to Gemini. I like to organize everything in my personal life in my calendar. Right? Everything's in there. And a few months ago, I tried this thing where I got a wedding invite. I was like, okay, screenshot, Gemini, add this to my calendar. Can't do it. A few months later, tried it again. Kind of worked, but not properly. Now we try it. Brilliant. Adds location, the times, and all the descriptions and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. Problem with that is, though, the AI for consumers is based on consumer data.
Yes.
Right? So using AI in your personal life, amazing. There are so many blogs and open articles and stuff like that out there in the open for AI to be trained on. And the training is being kept up to date as well. I think I'm seeing every 3 to 6 months, refresh, right? And access to live internet. Bring that to a workplace, and it's a completely different game. You're getting, AI to write something for you, an email for your personal life. Fine, you're sending a complaint email or a thank you email or something like that. Completely fine. Try to bring that to a workplace, and then you send that amongst colleagues or customers or whoever that is, and you're looking at this and you just know this person's used AI to write this email, and immediately you start to think how much effort has gone into that. Do they even care? Do they even bother? The trying to use tools that we use outside of work or these general tools inside of work, it scares me a little. There's also the consideration of whatever you type into AI, Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever it is, they're using that data. They're going to save it. They're going to train it, right? So GDPR consideration there.
Absolutely.
And then there are things you can buy inside of work as well. So you can use Copilot or something, but it's ridiculously expensive for the businesses. We're getting there. It's getting closer. But that's my thought on businesses using general AI, like consumer AI.
I think you bring that the idea is all of the LLMs that you mentioned are all connected to open internet.
Yes.
Right. So it's the reason why that Gemini example eventually worked is because it's taking other examples across the world of other users probably doing similar, and it's taking that reinforcing learning approach, and it's then obviously maturing that particular instruction over time because a lot more people are asking for it and it's learning off the data, and all of a sudden it will then deliver the results, right? Which is how obviously it works in terms of that consistently training and learning and reinforced loop. I think a lot of the struggle is enterprises, businesses, and more importantly, the workforce are just expecting hardened controls when they are using tools, those sort of tools in the business, right? So this doesn't talk to the internet. I can upload my legal documents into this or get it to write me emails. It'd be fine. And obviously they're breaking policies. Now, obviously a lot of businesses are now implementing AI policies and processes, and hardening is now coming in force. I mean, even our laptops, we can't launch ChatGPT. It's all locked down, and that's what we've enforced. But there is this thing where AI is going to be actually part of your job. So your email writing thing, it's a very big topic, by the way. I completely agree with you. The emotional elements of writing an email, if you get an AI to write it and someone realizes you wrote this in AI, how much thought actually went into it? Do you really care? I completely agree with that. There's a human element of, come on, like stick to being human, pick up the phone or write a note to me, be yourself. You don't have to rely on AI. But as you know, there's this concept called digital twin. So I could create myself a digital twin and it learns from my email tone. I have used AI tools, email tools before, and it's actually quite scary how close the tone is or how actually it is a twin of me. So if I was to write you an email, believe it or not, some of the emails I have written to you is AI, right? So you probably even realize that's where we're up to. We're there. So I do get some of the frustrations there, but bringing it back here, a lot of the AI tools that I brought to the table, and if a business wanted to use AI, it'd have to build your own language model. You have to train it yourself. It's a big piece of work. It's a strategy. It's a strategic intent. You've got to really understand the nature of your data architecture, how the business workflows. How are people in the workforce actually going to be taking this data, manipulating it, and taking outputs, results from that. So it's a big implementation. Should you want to really bring AI into the office, right? Because you've got to build your own data, and the benefits of that, it's your data, it's trained data, it sits in your ecosystem. Sovereignty tick box because it's in your own, on your own cloud, or it's in your own space. Obviously, a lot of the cloud providers are now providing AI fabrics, and it's actually all within its pod, which is great. I think we are going to see a natural shift there. But then that brings us to the cyber world, right? So when I think about that risk, that exposure of all these tools, and people bringing their own ChatGPTs to the table, and people are now using AI, they're leaking data in and they're out. When I think about the power of AI, and we speak about agents and AI agents, and how I think the workforce, we spoke about this recently, about how agentic AI is actually going to be the common trend, and it's going to replace a lot of humans in a lot of the more routine, mundane effort, task-based work. And so all of a sudden you can see these industries evolve. You're going to see retail change. You're going to see, as you're talking to Zara, I was talking to Zara recently, and I was blatantly talking to an AI agent, right, which is quite normal in the retail world. There's going to be more of that, I think, in the standard departments like your HRs, your operational teams. I think they're going to start operating in this manner because they're going to reuse or repurpose their humans to do other things and get the more mundane stuff out of the way. So all of a sudden, we're going to just see this widespread ecosystem of agentic AI coming through, AI being integrated, and it just opens up a big risk box for us, right? So from a cyber perspective, like, what do we need to do to protect those businesses? Like, what can we do with such a change in landscape? Like, what's your thoughts around just how do you combat this change in landscape of AI?
Guardrails on AI is a big thing at the moment. I think we're learning from mistakes other people make, or not even mistakes, just people that are very savvy out there and exploiting these AIs just to have a laugh, not even with malicious intent, right? But then you apply those same tactics. People take these tactics, they learn from it, and then they evolve it into data exfiltration, right? So I know that this person was just having fun and got this AI to say something it shouldn't. Well, I could probably use a similar tactic to extract information from the AI, and they try it, and lo and behold, it works. There's, again, going back to data sovereignty as well, are you sure that your models are retaining the information and keeping it to themselves? Who's got access to that AI? Have you left it open to the public? If it's just for your employees, and are you making sure just your employees have access? There's other things to consider. So we're moving on to agentic AI now. What's the authentication? What's happening there? When you tell an AI bot to do something, is it authenticating as itself? Is it authenticating as you? Are there steps in place to make sure the actions are being recorded as done by you? Again, if someone managed to get into your back systems or whatever and start chatting to this AI, right? Are they going to be able to do things using the AI that they shouldn't be able to do? Right? There's so many things there. What we can do to help protect, first of all, discussions and explore these things and talk about them, and keep an eye on what's happening out there in terms of AI. How are people using it in a malicious way? Then there's guardrails and things like that. So if you start looking into the world of AI that people don't see, because you think, oh, AI deploy, it just works. No, there's a whole back end thing you've got to implement. There's prompts you've got to put in. There's instructions you've got to put in. There's guardrails. There are now native tools that you can use to make sure that an AI will do exactly what it's supposed to, or your implementation of it will do exactly what it's supposed to do, and nothing outside of that. Yeah. I've played with these things as well. So at home, I've loaded up a few models on the PC, and I try to get them to do things, and it just stops responding all of a sudden. And you can almost see those guardrails kicking in and working, right? It's now stopping me because I'm going outside of the use of that AI. So a lot of it is down to config, guardrails, understanding how the solution works, going over the prompts. There's AI models as well. So different models behave differently, and you might move from an older model to a newer model. You've now got to go look at those guardrails again, or your instructions even, because the way it's interpreting them has completely changed.
Absolutely.
And so you've got to go through all of that and, all right, does this still work? Right, now that I'm thinking about that, we need to have a list of things that we can test out. But again, it's AI. So if I think of it in typical testing, right, you've got your user acceptance and go click this, do that, do this, try this. Oh, there was a bug before. Let's try repeat those steps again. It's not as simple with AI anymore. You can't just follow the same things as you did before. You've got to give it a bit of a creative twist. You've got to have that almost break your mind. So let me ask it the same question in a different way. Let me give it a persona. Let me try this. Let me try that.
Yeah.
And so testing it becomes so much more difficult as well.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of points you raised, which I think is so interesting, because I completely agree with them, is the hallucination. So the data, if not treated properly, could go into different contexts, right? So which then you then, if you're counting on this answer to make critical decisions, and it can go, and even if it's a 2% chance of this hallucinating, that for me is 2% too much. Especially if it needs to make that business critical decision, is it this way or that way? And if you've got such a small percentage, albeit a percentage, is it really worth the risk of putting all your eggs in that basket in terms of that decision logic, right? There's that element.
Yes.
Then there's I completely agree with you, the release of these models. They're releasing them by the weeks, the months. It's changing, right? So the recent release of GPT-5, we're going to see probably 0.1, 0.2. It will just keep evolving, which means that those prompt engineering functions that you might have built into your agentic solutions or your agents or your AI, single AI kind of solution will have to be revisited, reworked potentially, right? And that you're going to have to constantly test it. And probably you could build an AI agent to do that anyway, to some degree. Then you look at the agentic solution. So now we're looking at AI agents, which can now talk to other AI agents, which could be both inside its own platform or another agentic solution elsewhere. So all of a sudden, we're now replicating actual business functions as agents and sub-agents, which can now talk to other agents and sub-agents. And I think what we're going to find is this whole AI to AI community, this ecosystem is going to evolve, right? So all of a sudden, that's what we're going to be combating, right? So when I think about the threat landscape, when I think about stateside attacks or, ransom groups, they have agents now working as they would have people. 10 years ago, a decade ago, they would have had a whole army of people in tower blocks, completely funded privately by malicious gangs and ransom groups, whether it be monetary, whether it be state government led, whatever it might well be. But there will be people brute forcing, brute attacking businesses. That's their job. Imagine now replicating that as agents. So now you've got agents replicating this building worth of people. Not only that, you've then got agents that then enforce those agents, and all of a sudden you've got an army that's infinitely scalable, that's going out potentially brute, which is, we're seeing it, it's brute forcing this. So AI is both, it's a double-edged sword, right? It's an amazing consumer-based thing. We all love it. We use it at home. It's great. When you bring it into the workforce, it opens up all sorts to the challenges you then mentioned. But then when I look at the ways you can use it with bad context, if you use it in a malicious way, it becomes a very powerful weapon, right?
Yes.
Those prompt engineering attacks that you spoke of earlier, we're going to see more of that. You're going to see bedroom hackers birthed in weeks, months of just learning a few prompts. You can manipulate GPT and other bots to give. I know they're putting a lot more hardening in place, and I'm now seeing that. But you're now going to get a lot more. Well, not a lot more, but you're going to get some ability of training it in the wrong way and building outputs and prompts in the wrong way. You're then going to start seeing, recent news articles I've seen about, unfortunate news about people committing suicide following GPT's instructions, right? So all of a sudden, there is bad to this story, right? It's not all good. There is bad. And I think what we do as cyber professionals in our industry, and more importantly within CloudGuard, is how obviously take the best bits. How do we take the best bits of AI that can consistently give us the right result, that can almost drive efficiency down for our business, and more importantly, so we can save costs and time for our customers, and more importantly, how do we implement it in such a way that we can always innovate, because we have to use AI to innovate. We can't skip this. We have to use it. To your point earlier, we have to combat AI with AI. So we have to use the tools on the bench, but we don't have to do slapdash AI, Gen AI, front of house summarization. We're talking about real back end infrastructure or AI infrastructure that our customers don't see. We see it all the time. Like, can I see AI, please? And when you then demonstrate the AI, they don't understand it, because a lot of what we do is hard coded into our logic. Yeah. So I don't know with our strategy, and I know you run our strategy on innovation around this. How are we using AI in CloudGuard today, and how do we intend to use it going forward?
So AI is a tool. I will always maintain that. It's not there to replace our analysts or our workflows. They're more of an aid to help make them quicker, more rapid. The way in which we use AI, we adapt it depending on the area that we are using AI in. So AI, we say AI, it's not just one AI. There are multiple agents, and the agents won't be using just one model. A model is, an implementation of AI that's trained on a specific set of data. There are different models being used. Different models have different strengths. So depending on where we are using that piece of AI, or that AI tool, as I like to call it, we'll change the model over. The models are trained. So we're not using your generic AI. These AI agents that we are using, they're using models that are trained by us. And depending on the use case, there's actually two types of models you can get as well. There's SLM, small language, and there's LLM, large language models as well. And so depending on the use cases, we'll use an SLM that is trained by us for a very specific task of figuring out a certain type of malicious attack, right? Or trying to get a trend on a MITRE attack technique, for example. Or if we're talking about comms, or generating text in a specific way to represent data to our analysts, then we'd use something of an LLM. But again, it's trained on the way in which we would write our investigations, the way we approach the investigations, the structure of them, all that kind of stuff as well. So there's no one answer.
No.
We don't use it in one specific way. And the answer is, if you look at AI as a tool, and then you adapt that tool to the way that you want to use it, that's what we do.
Yep.
So we use different models, we use different training methodologies, and different implementations to get the tool to do what we want it to do, or what we need it to do, but do it accurately.
Absolutely.
Do it in a way that is actually going to save us time, not hinder us.
Absolutely. And I think what we have seen in the early days, remember when we first rolled out our AI many, many years ago, we did see inconsistent results. We did see, we couldn't rely on some of the decision logic it was giving us.
Yeah.
But over the years, we've trained it. But more importantly, we've given it a very specific task.
Yes.
Don't go beyond these four walls. This is it. This is all you do. So agent one, only do this. Therefore, your answer can only be this, or this, like based on the training data that you've got.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's important is because that entire workflow that it's doing still saves hours of times in terms of our people internally.
Yeah.
And when you've got lots of these agents like we have, and the way we built this out with our modularity, and I think that's something we obviously follow, when you then combine the aggregate efficiency across these lots of agents, all of a sudden we've got a very, very powerful agentic solution that saves lots of hours, lots of weeks in a month. But more importantly, we're then able to save those costs to our customers on behalf. More importantly, super, super importantly, detect threats, remediate, respond, remediate, right? That's the ultimate goal. And I think we use AI to combat AI. The reason why we have to combat AI in this way is because threats are coming in hard and fast based on all the bad adversaries we just went through, right? That's coming in by the dozen, by the minute, by the second, right? It's super... we see it with our stats, as you can see with our customers. We can see the type of threats that are coming through, right? And our agents are doing that first line of defense. What is your thoughts on human in the loop, right? So we speak a lot about, can you trust AI? Can we trust AI? I think we got a guiding principle around humans in this entire loop and chain. What's your thoughts around keeping humans in the loop? Do we maintain it? Will those humans ever be replaced eventually by agents? Like, what's your thoughts on where this could go?
Going back to it, AI is a tool. Human in the loop always. Naturally, because if AI is a tool, a human, well, someone needs to use that tool, right? I'll go back to a funny example. When we first started out the venture of AI, we had trouble with this one agent that we were trying to get working, and you can be as specific as you want with the instructions you give it, and it still hallucinate or do something weird. And it wasn't until we added to the prompt, if you don't do this right, I will get angry. That was the magic. Somehow that fixed it. A human in the loop is absolutely required, because we've learned through experience that you can give an AI the same question with the same training data. The next day, it'll give you a slightly different answer. Not completely different, but a slightly different answer. But that slight difference is more than crucial. That could mean something gets auto-remediated, or we go and ask a question instead, right? And so this is why I would say AI is a tool. You still need a human to interpret the outputs of the tooling to decide whether or not the next step suggested is the right step or not, right? We do get to certain flows where we understand the flow enough that we can say with confidence, we can let it go and do auto-remediation. But again, that isn't purely relying on AI, because we've built additional logic around the outputs and the inputs of the AI that is constantly scoring it and saying, no, this doesn't make sense, or this meets this level of confidence. You're okay to carry on, right? But again, you can only apply that to scenarios that you've thoroughly understood, that you've studied, that you know there are many examples for us to look at and decide whatever is looking at that decision and using the past context to decide whether or not that outcome has confidence. It works, right? Versus something new that's come in. If it's an attack we haven't seen before, or a pathway that we haven't seen before, then we have to bring a human into the loop, because there is no context. There's nothing that can help the AI really understand what I'm doing is right or wrong.
Yeah, I think you're spot on in terms of humans will always be in the loop, especially in our industry, in our business, as a SOC team, SOC function. AI is always going to be the tool we have to enforce. It's going to help drive efficiencies. We understand that. Detect and identify and enrich adversaries that come through, attack vectors that come through. We can absolutely. But that last mile will always need a human, because that human expertise is always going to, sometimes you've got the gut feel instinct as well.
Yes.
And sometimes you've got that 10 years of a SOC analyst experience of being around lots of enterprises, seeing pretty much most of these attacks are coming in. Sometimes the AI just doesn't understand that. And that it won't have the gut feel. There's something wrong here. I can see the data, but there's something wrong here. I think it's that. I think that will always be the element. I think what will happen over time is that the AI will improve its decision making. I think it will definitely get better, but I still feel you're going to need that assurance with humans in the loop. Maybe not as much humans, but you're still going to need it. But I'd also pivot this to say there are some industries where AI could absolutely replace that entire workflow. So if I look at retail, if I look at online ordering processes, logistics, AI could do it all, because the risk or the output of the risk is a lot lesser in other industries. Or when I look at when I look at banking or investment banking, there's a reason why AI doesn't gamble other people's monies and investments, right? Even if it swings 1% one way, could mean the make or break of an investment. I don't think AI will ever replace the investment banker, as an example, right? I think it will use it as tools to get data, but AI will still drive humans will still drive that final decision, as an example. Same with our SOC analysts and our SOC team. How we use AI, to your point earlier, we use it to do all the heavy lifting, but it's the last mile humans that have to always be in the loop. Over time, we're just going to improve that efficiency and that whole process. So in terms of going forward, then last sort of 2-3 years of our journey, the next 2-3 years of our journey, how do you think our platform is going to look today? Obviously, I think we've got a very innovative, beautiful platform today, and we protect all our customers, but where do you think we're going to go in the next 2 to 3 years?
We will be able to give our customers access to our portal, which is brilliant. And it's so informative. It gives a lot of information, but rather than having to click around in different places, they can just talk to this agent, right? And it can surface information for them. Or it can you log on and it might even prompt you saying, look, we've seen this suspicious. We've tried to get in touch with you. Can you just go and look at this incident, please? We've got a few questions. And internally, a similar thing as well. It is moving over from using AI as a tool to help you in your workflows to actually using it as a tool to interact with your workflows. It almost becomes something that's natural to your workflows now.
Yeah. I think I agree with everything you said. I think maybe to add to that, there's this whole idea that I think we're going to create an agentic army within our business. I think we're going to have virtual teams, right? We're going to have virtual squads delivered to be part of functions in our company. So when I think about the SOC team, we've already got a SOC engineering function, which I think is going to grow massive legs and it will mature. But I think we're also going to have twins virtual twins, agents, right? So we'll have your engineering team, for example. I think you're going to have some agentic solutions that's going to help drive innovation. And we're going to start seeing almost employee badge numbers given to these agents. And I think it's going to be the army behind it. I'm talking future. This is what it's going to become, in my humble opinion. But more importantly, because of the rise of all these modern complex threats, the rollout of agents and AI across these various industries, we're going to see new adversaries, new attacks, new deepfakes. Deepfakes are going to go to the next level.
Oh, yeah.
So all of a sudden, authentication methods, MFA, forget MFA, traditional MFA, that's out the window because that will get breached pretty quickly. I think we're just going to see a brand new landscape of threats. And I think we've got to be on our A game, ready to prevent those attacks from coming, right? So all that solutions that you've just come up with, we've got to bring it. But more importantly, we've got to continue the workflow that we do well today, which is prevent, react, and then more importantly, learn, and that continuous learning loop. So if we see a threat, well, firstly, we're going to predict that threat. Second, we see it come in because we know it's going to come in. Next, we respond and we resolve. Second, the last mile is we're going to learn from that. And that whole continuous loop is what every customer is going to see. And the way we're going to learn that even further is because we're going to grab that data on everyone's customer's behalf. So for example, we're going to learn how often that particular threat comes in. Is there a timely pattern here? Is there anomalies that could occur because of that? Is there a break in the process? And that we're going to learn from that. Even the configuration of customers' data, infrastructure, firewall configuration over here, we can start integrating some of their CMDB into our context. So all of a sudden, if we know there's a change, a dynamic or config, was it authorized, was it not, right? And we can start looking at insider threats a bit more closer. I know we could do it to this day, but we can start proactively predicting when we think is that malicious or not. We know it's not because, and we can use context from previous sort of history to do that. So I think what's going to happen is that we're going to see this amalgamation of just a transformation of landscape. Threat landscape is going to change, which means we bring a new wave of proactive behavior and solutions to the table. And I think we're just going to be a sort of a cloud guard 2.0.
Yes.
Right. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think that's what we're driving towards. I don't know. I've probably gone a bit further to what you were thinking, but do you agree? Am I just smoking drugs here?
No, 100%. The attackers have already started doing it. When was the last time?
The deepfake. Have you seen the deepfakes?
Deepfakes, yeah.
Oh my God, I saw one yesterday. It was awful, as in ridiculously close.
We've done some as well.
We've done some
internally.
And our demos, our customer demos, we use deepfakes. Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy convincing. But when was the last time you saw a Prince of Nigeria email?
This is true. It's evolved.
Yes.
The Prince of Nigeria is now the king. So no, I just I have seen some silly emails coming through. You know, it's written by AI.
Yeah.
But it's scary now how phishing attempts using again AI bots, agents to grab data about my background, to grab social engineering patterns around my LinkedIn, all the data points that they know of me, but that's externally accessible, and all of a sudden, hi Jav, it's Matt.
Yeah.
Right. Could you transfer some funds over to me because I'm broke? Not that Matt will ever be broke, but could you transfer some? And all of a sudden, you read through this. It's like this is a real attempt. This is actually a really good email. The pattern interrupts in the flow. It's maturing. So obviously, being a cyber leader and a cyber business, you kind of get it. But to your everyday sort of person that doesn't really keep up to date with this sort of stuff, it is scary. And we're seeing a lot more phishing attempts now because of social engineering patterns.
And they only need to get it right once.
Yeah,
we got to get it right every.
Well, it's a click of a link, and therefore it's a breach there and then. So I think that's exactly what we're saying is that we're just seeing a maturity of AI being used in a malicious way.
Yes.
And the only way we can combat that or detect it or at least come up with a playbook to resolve those type of threats is using AI and automation. Right. And I think what I'm proud about is that we've had AI and automation in the inception of the business. And that has never left us. If anything, we're now pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
I know your team are really driving some amazing innovations, and I think we're driving some amazing roadmaps to some of the points we covered earlier. Yeah. And that's never going to change because that's part of our culture. So, okay. So thanks for coming down. Appreciate the chat.
Thanks for having me.
And look forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Cheers. See you.
I was going to fist pump.
You're going to blow it up, yeah.
I should have fist pumped him. Is it too late?
Bloopers.
Oh, you could have still fist bump.
Make it a blooper. Let's do an awkward handshake that turns into a fist pump. All right, thanks, Jack, for coming down.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Oh,
sorry. All right, let's go again. All right, Yak, thanks for coming down.